Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Abhishek, you want to respond there?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hi, can we share our screen? That's also a problem too, no? It's okay?
Yep.
Got it. Okay. Clickety, 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 clack. Okay. And we go to our PowerPoint show. Can you see our PowerPoint show?
You sure can, Maharaj.
Okay. Shishi Radhanatbar Friday Sangha, Friday, May 6, 2022. Is this Radhanatbar?
It is, but it's rather not in Columbus, Ohio.
That's what I thought so. It's their images. Yeah.
They're a little more serious over there.
Are they also called Radhanatbar? Or they have a different name?
Yeah, same name.
Okay. Still very beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So this is Friday, May 6th. And we have coming up this week Sita Navami on Tuesday, the 10th, Nishinga Chaturdasi on next Saturday, the 14th, and then Satsrup Das Goswami's Sannyas the same day, and Jai Ananda, Jai Das Tirabhava Festival. Here's a picture, a very, very nice picture I like. You can see a Sita Ram Lakshman. And they renounced all their royal dress and even just walking barefoot. So many things. And said that when they entered the forest, all these flies and gnats and everything were attacking them, and Sita had to cover her face with her very delicate skin. And she goes in the middle, and then Lakshman behind her to protect her like that. And you can see they were very young people with very, very nice character. And so we had Ram Navami festival, like about 1 month ago, and now Sita's appearance day. And then the Nishinga Chaturdasi on the right-hand side looks like Lakshmi on his lap. Shina Shinga, Jai Nishringa, Jaya Jaya Nishinga, Praladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bringa. He's always enjoying, like a bee, he's hovering around the beautiful features of Lakshmi Devi, enjoying her offering. It says in Madhurya Ras, the devotee even tries to offer their body, to be an object of gratification of the Lord, all with a service attitude. So, of course, we hope to have a very, very nice festival at 902 Hillcrest, and we made a flyer up, which should be going off there. And we've been planning all the decorations and where the tents will go, and where the kirtan people will sit, and where the speakers can stand, and the microphone system. So it should be very nice. Maybe we can work a little bit to organize things, and be like tomorrow morning or Sunday, and I can make up a program which can maybe facilitate. We can work on that. Have some ideas from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 6:30. and 2.5 hours to glorify Lord Nrsingadev, and then Satsvara Maharaj's sannyas. This is Yadunanda Swami with Maharaj, who's a disciple and also took sannyas. And down below is Prabhupada and Jayananda. So all with nice kirtan and everything else, we're going to have very, very nice concentrated program. Yeah. So if anybody would like to do some bhajan or make some nice learning presentations, we're thinking some of the younger youths could talk about their experiences. And we want to film everything for our movie, which is consolidation of our experiences in Krishna consciousness. And of course, a large part of that has been our whole activities here in our Radhanath Bar Sangha and different festivals we had in the past. So maybe try to find also if anybody knows anybody, more professional photographer, and we can pay some fee, and we have them taking pictures and everything else. You know, we have a very, very beautiful movie which we did in Peru, and now we're doing the second movie, which will be in North America, which will include all this program here. You know. Okay, so that's kind of festival days. Then, if we look at some references here, books for the basis. Let's go Alt Tab. We come over here, and I think we can open up right along with this. We find our cursor. Yeah, there we go. So please repeat. Archer Nama Maharajni.
Archanama Maharajni.
Tatpatni Anugatavanam.
Tatpatni Anugatavanam.
Sukumari Atadar Hacha.
Sukumari Atad Arhacha.
Yakpadhyam Sparshanam Bhuvaha.
Yat Padbyam Sparshanam Bhuva.
You chant and we'll respond.
Archanama Maharajni.
Archanama Maharajni.
Tatpatni Anugatavanam.
Tatpatni Anugatavanam.
Sukumari Atad Arhacha.
Sukumari Atad Arhacha.
Yat Padbhayam Sparshanam Bhuva.
Yapadyam Sparshanam Bhuvaha. Some other devotees want to chant?
Archanama Mahanatni.
Archanama Maharajni.
Tatpatne Anugata. I'm sorry. My phone was I'm sorry. Tatpatni Anugrahavanam.
Tatpatni Anugatavanam.
Sukumari Atad Arhacha.
Sukumari Atada Arhacha.
Yat Padyam Sparshanam Bhuvaha.
Yapadyam Sparshanam Bruvaha. Other devotees. Well, okay. Ativa Bhartu Vrata Dharma. Ativa Bhartu Vrata Dharma Nishtaya. Shushrushaya Karsadeha Yatraya. Navindatartim Parikarshitapa Satapisa. Preyashkarash Parshanamana Nivriting. So we couldn't find any lists in the Bhagavatam too much. But there's one purport I know where it's describing how Mother Sita was equal in qualities to Lord Ramachandra, but I couldn't find it. And so there I was remembering that one of the best descriptions I think of her feminine qualities, and of course, you know, all expansions of Radharani, but it was Archie, you know, Prithvi Maharaj's wife, and I didn't even get a chance to read these, but I was looking at prayers glorifying her, so I could read this. The queen, the wife of Prithvi Maharaj, whose name was Archie, followed her husband into the forest. Since she was a queen, her body was very delicate. And although she did not deserve to live in the forest, she voluntarily touched her lotus feet to the ground. Although she was not accustomed to such difficulties, Queen Archie followed her husband in the regulative principles of living in the forest like great sages. So Prabhupada is recommending now, Vanapras, that devotees move to some place like Vrindavan or Mayapur, he said, and take up, residence there. And of course, you can live more simply in just maybe 2, 3 rooms even. But then you start to absorb yourself in all of the regular daily function activities in the temple. There's so many festivals and other things going on that your life, you don't need such big personal space because you're involved in so many programs with the devotees, and just very naturally one becomes detached from the body. So they were undergoing the austerities of living in the forest. She lay down on the ground and ate only fruits, flowers, and leaves. And because she was not fit for these activities, she became frail and thin. Yet because of the pleasure she derived in serving her husband, she did not feel any difficulties. When Queen Archie saw that her husband, who had been so merciful to her and the earth, no longer showed symptoms of life, she lamented for a little while and then built a fiery pyre on top of a hill and placed the body of her husband on it. I think maybe even though they're in the forest, other sages and rishis and people there, so maybe helping her. After this, the queen executed the necessary funerary functions and offered oblations of water. After bathing in the river, she offered obeisance to the various demigods situated in the sky in the different planetary systems. She then circumambulated the fire, and while thinking of the lotus feet of her husband, she entered into its flames. After observing this brave act performed by the chaste wife, Archie, the wife of the great King Prithu, many thousands of wives of the demigods, along with their husbands, offered prayers to the queen, for they were very much satisfied. At that time, the demigods were situated on the top of Mandara hill, and all their wives began to shower flowers on the funeral pyre and began to talk amongst themselves as follows. Take a look over here, text 25, and okay, you can all chant this in your house along with me. Devya uchahu ahoiyam vadurdanya yachaivan bubhujan patim sarvatmana patim bheje yajne sam ashwir vadur ivan. The wise and demigod said, all glories to Queen Archie. We can see that this queen of the great King Prithu, the emperor of all the kings of the world, has served her husband with mind, speech, and body, exactly as the goddess of fortune serves the supreme personality of Godhead, Yajneshwar or Vishnu. 26. Saisha nunam vrajati ordvam anuvainyam patim sati pashyatashman atityarchir dorvi bhavyena karmana. The wives of the demigods continue to see how this chaste Lady Archie, by dint of her inconceivable pious activities, is still following her husband upward as far as we can see. In this material world, every human being has a short span of life, but those who are engaged in devotional service go back home, back to Godhead. They are actually on the path of liberation. For such persons, there is nothing that is not available. Teshim dura pam kim svanyam martyanam bhagavat padam bhuvi lola yusho yevai naiskarmya sadayanti uta savanchito savanchita batat madruk kritrena mahata bhuvi labdva pavarga manushanam vishayeshu visajyate. Any person who engages himself within this material world in performing activities that necessitate great struggle, and who, after obtaining a human form of life, which is a chance to obtain liberation from miseries, undertakes the difficult tasks of fruitive activities, must be considered to be cheated and envious of his own self. So, of course, we see this, that Archie and Prithu are setting the example of the ideal, grihasta couple in this world, and following to Vanapras, sannyas, and then leaving their bodies and going surpassing even the heavenly planets, just following her husband. Yeah. So of course, just setting the proper example, they show, as she shows, Sita showed that yes, by so much pious activity, one can get the opportunity to be the wife of a pundit or a great sage or a very, very nice, respectable person. And it's a very easy situation because you just have to associate and follow such a nice person, in your austerities, and what happens, you can go back to the spiritual world. But if we use that situation, because of course, sense gratification within ISKCON, for example, Lord Chaitanya's movement, is actually in many ways quite inconceivable, because of the austerities we're doing. If we want to trade those in for material benefit, okay, and Krishna will give us such material benefits, such material gratification. But of course, this is not a sign of his real favor. Sign of his real favor is maybe even we're having difficulties and challenges, and it's teaching us to see how everything is coming from him. And so actually, in Shantaras, we're just amazed at how great the God is, and just how his energy is so wonderful. In Dasya Rasa, we try to actually participate within his energy and activities. But in Sakya Rasa, we're trying to feel on an equal level. So we begin to feel like we are possessing Krishna in varying degrees. So if we've got all these pious credits, we're belonging to such a wonderful, religious society, and the opportunities are there, to simply engage in gratifying ourselves in a situation like that. Again, Krishna will try and push us to get the real perfection, our real satisfaction at heart, push us to return to our natural position in all his play and leela like that. So here's very, very nice descriptions of the qualities of Archie. Anybody have any comments now or anything? Yeah. Okay.
This and this text 28 that you labdva paravagyam manusyam vishayeshu visajate. So that's what it said, that in this, after getting this human life, we follow the Vishaya and we're committing suicide. Is that?
Okay, we can look it up here.
Yeah, here. And
Sabanchika Batat Madruk Krishna Mahata Bhuvi Labdva Pavarga Manushanam Vishayesu Visajate. Vishayeshu, in the matter of sense gratification, Visajate, becomes engaged. Yeah. You were wondering if it said suicide or not? Envious of his own self. Oh, there it goes. Atmadruk. No? Yeah. Atmadruk. Envious of his own self. Wow. It's a very strange thing, but you see some people like that. And of course, this is, it's not going to be exactly manifest in lower species or even lower human forms. But let's go ahead here. But people who actually are intelligent, who are actually spiritually advanced, then they begin to realize, these higher qualities in our higher nature. They realize that they want to be generous. They don't want to be greedy and self-absorbed. They want to sacrifice. And so they start to become envious of their higher nature and wanted to kill it. And so then, they engage in all kinds of very, very vicious forms of intoxication, everything else, to try and deny their own existence. Bhagavad Gita talks about the same thing. The purport Prabhupada says, very nice report. In the material world, people are engaged in different activities simply to achieve a little success and sense gratification. The karmis are engaged in performing very difficult activities. Unless they open gigantic factories, build huge cities, make big scientific discoveries, etc. In other words, they are engaged in performing very costly sacrifices in order to be promoted to the higher planetary systems. And of course, even here is just that, very, very costly austerities to produce atomic bomb. Why? Because then we can dominate all the other people on the earth. We can have control of all the oil, so Japanese people cannot develop industrially, and then it's very big austerities, very big efforts, and then to just have a heavenly life. And of course, after World War II, America was, in many ways, it was so heavenly in many, many ways compared to other countries where people were starving and suffering. And all the latest new inventions and everything else, and air travel, automobile travel, television, they all becoming manifest after this severe austerity, undergoing all this big sacrifice to get atomic weapons and everything else. Similarly, yogis are engaged in achieving a similar goal by accepting the tedious practice of mystic yoga. Jnanis are engaged in philosophical speculation in order to attain release from the clutches of material nature. In these ways, everyone is engaged in performing very difficult tasks, simply for gratification of the senses. All of them are considered to be engaged in sense gratificatory activities, or vishaya, because they all demand some facility for material existence. Actually, the results of such activities are temporary. As Krishna himself proclaims in Bhagavad Gita 7:23, Antavat tu palam tesham. The fruits of those who worship the demigods are limited and temporary. Thus, the fruits of the activities of the yogis, the karmis, and the jnanis are ephemeral. Moreover, Krishna says, Tad bhavati alpavedasam. They are simply meant for men of small intelligence. The word vishaya denotes sense gratification. The karmis flatly state that they want sense gratification. The yogis also want sense gratification, but they want it to a higher degree. Okay, Aladdin and his magic lamp. It is their desire to show some miraculous results in the practice of yoga. Thus, they strive very hard to achieve success in becoming smaller than the smallest, or greater than the greatest, or in creating a planet like Earth. Or as scientists, by inventing so many wonderful machines. Some of the jnanis are also engaged in sense gratification, for they're simply interested in becoming one with the Supreme. Thus, the aim of all these activities is sense gratification to a higher or lower degree. The bhaktas, however, are not interested in sense gratificatory processes. They're simply satisfied to get an opportunity to serve the Lord. Okay, and of course, the opportunity is that Krishna shows us, what a sensitive person he is, and how he really. Prabhupada says Krishna demands and wants our service. And so we're seeing, Krishna can appreciate this. I can do that. I can get this. I know how to do that. And Krishna actually is appreciating, and we're discovering the newer and newer abilities that we have, in terms of our deities in our house, and even exerting influence all over the world through our knowledge and abilities. So if Krishna gives us this vibhava, this stimulus, through showing us these things, Lord Chaitanya is especially generous, then we're so satisfied that all we want is more stimulus, more vibhava. Although they are satisfied in any condition, there is nothing they cannot obtain, because they are purely engaged in the service of the Lord. The wise of the demigods condemn the performers of sense gratificatory activities as vanchita, cheated. They are so engaged, those so engaged are actually killing themselves. Atmaha, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 11:20-17. Nredeham adyam shudabam sudurabam pavam sukalpam guru karna dharanam mayanukulena nabashvateritam kumam bababdim nacharet so atmaha. When one wants to cross a large ocean, it requires a strong boat. It is said that this human form of life is a good boat by which one can cross the ocean of nescience. In the human form of life, one can attain the guidance of a good navigator, a spiritual master. One also gets a favorable wind by the mercy of Krishna, and that wind is the instructions of Krishna. The human body is a boat. The instructions of Lord Krishna are the favorable winds, and the spiritual master is the navigator. The spiritual master knows well how to adjust the sails to catch the favorable winds and steer the boat to its destination. So this purport is winds, is winds. Are you feeling this purport blowing you? If, however, one does not take advantage of this opportunity, one wastes the human form of life. So here we are, we're coming together in this Sangha, and we're opening the book up, and we're getting impetus, pushing us, all of us, pushing us. And then Prabhupada is what he gives us books, he gives us regular schedules, he gives us sadhu Sangha, and by that way we can catch these favorable winds coming out of the Bhagavatam, puts them in a format. Wasting time and life in this way is the same as committing suicide. Well, the word labdvapavargyam is significant in this verse, because according to Jiva Goswami, apavargyam, or the path of liberation, does not refer to merging into the impersonal Brahman, but to Salokyadi city, which means attaining the very planet where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. There are 5 kinds of liberation. One is called Sayuja, or merging into the existence of the Supreme or impersonal Brahman effulgence. However, since there's a chance of falling down again into the material sky from the Brahman effulgence, Jiva Goswami advises that in this human form of life, one's only aim should be to go back home, back to Godhead. The word savanchita indicates that once a person has attained the human form of life, he is actually cheated if he does not make preparation to go back home, back to Godhead. The position of all non-devotees who are not interested in going back to Godhead is very lamentable. The human form of life is meant for executing devotional service and nothing else. So, of course, when we understand this, it means that in the beginning, Prabhupada said there's some feeling towards impersonalism, and because we're so, all the personal variety we know is, children, grandchildren, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, fellow employees at work, charitable partners in charitable activities, who save the whales, And so we have experienced so much variety, and we have gardens, and we look at the beautiful landscaping of our neighbors and things like that. And so we have all this variety here. When we talk about going back to Godhead, where the whole purpose is to serve Krishna, not to enjoy anything, then it seems like impersonal in the beginning. So it's not surprising. But the idea is that we become completely detached from this world, we'll discover that actually we're alive. Oh my goodness, and that life begins to just start to wake up, and then it starts to respond to the spiritual world, and we can experience it. Socrates gives the example in the cave as somebody is simply seeing shadows being cast by people behind them, and they all identify with different shadows as being themselves or somebody else, and then they watch like watching television, you know. But then somebody turns around and he sees, oh my God, this is all just what I'm experiencing is actually a reflection of some real objects. Then he sees a way out and comes out of even the Paramatma feature into the sunlight. But in the beginning, Socrates said it's too bright. So how could he know these things if he wasn't actually experiencing or hearing from self-realized souls? When we come out, it's like this is just too bright and we cannot see forms in the beginning. Oh, I want to go back in the cave. Yeah. But if we stay there, we just naturally become accustomed to the light. Then we see all this variety and things happening and so many wonderful things. And then he says if somebody goes back into the cage and tries to preach to people, they call him a pervert, madman. And he's lucky if they don't chain him up and kill him or something, So this is human form of life. Then beyond that, human form of life in a civilized, pious country, human form of life. Does it go? Brahmandev? No, when does it go? Yeah. Anyway, the Bharate Bhumite Hoile. Bharate Bhumite Hoile. Manusha Janmayar. Janmasartaka Kari Parakar Upakar. Taking birth in Bharata, take advantage of all the opportunity there in culture, philosophy, everything else. And then if one actually gets a bona fide spiritual master, wow. So always trying to pull ourselves out of sense gratification and get a higher taste. And the more we do it, the more it becomes a habit. We start developing new habits. And so we can't sleep late. We can't overindulge in gratification of the senses because our intelligence is becoming purified. We know what it is. Then we're getting positive taste in chanting and hearing, and all these things in association like this. And it's the first level, the first beginning of actual spiritual awakening. So here you see a very, very nice example for ladies about how Archie was so satisfied in serving her husband that even though she was undergoing severe austerities, for what she was doing for a lady, that's, severe austerities for a lady with such a delicate body to be living in the forest. So any other comments or anything, anybody here? Yeah.
I don't see any comment, Maharaj.
Okay.
So Sunday we'll have our local meetings again, 1 to 2. Tanduka Prabhu, is that all right? That's what we did last week.
Okay. Is a Sunday or Saturday, Prabhuji?
I think
Saturday.
we did Sunday, yeah.
Okay, Sunday, that's fine,
So
Prabhu.
what is everybody else okay with Sunday too?
I that's what I want to know. Is anyone have any concerns that okay 1 to 2 on Sunday?
Vishnucharan Prabhu, Abhayji, Abhishek.
What are you talking about for next Sunday, right?
For 14th program, yeah.
That's a Saturday.
That program is a Saturday, but meeting to how do we will proceed that Sunday.
Meeting tomorrow to
1
see
to
who's
2.
going to bring the spaghetti. Macaroni.
I don't understand. What's the Sunday meeting for?
To how we will
Preparation, Prabhuji.
I didn't understand. Everyone's talking together.
No, preparation for the next Saturday. Okay, what are the things want to do? What is
For tomorrow? So you guys do this Sunday.
What are the action item for each and everybody? Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's fine. This Sunday, I'm okay. 1 to 2 o'clock, right?
That's right.
I'm okay with that.
So Saturday 1 to 2 o'clock.
No, Sunday. Sunday, Maharaj.
Oh, Sunday 1 to 2 o'clock. Okay. Yeah. We have a program. Our program is from 10 to 2. Yeah. 10 to noon. Sorry, 10 to noon. We have a program from 10 o'clock till noon. Yeah. But that's fine. So it's fine with us also. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
Maharaj.
Thank you.
Maharaj.
Okay, Vishnu Prabhu. Shriman was scheduled to sing lead kirtan today. Shriman or Sridhar? Whoever's
She's supposed to
available.
do Yashomati Nandana.
I think Kirtan was Sridhar Sri Radha Vallabh Prabhu, isn't it?
Radha Vallabh Prabhu. That's right. That's what it was. Both Sridhars on the same day. Okay, so Sri Radha Vallabh Prabhu, the kirtan, please.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarini
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyatya Desatarine
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Gauranga.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Gauranga.
Hare
Nityananda.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
जय राधा नटवर राधे,
जय राधा नटवर राधे,
जय राधा नटवर राधे,
जय राधा नटवर राधे,
जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे,
जय राधे Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe.
Hari Bol,
Gauranga.
Hari
Nityananda.
Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Harinam Sankirtan ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
All right, now Sridhar's turn for Yashamati Nandana.
Yashomati Nandana Brajavarana Gara Gokula Jana Kana Yashomati Nandana Brajavarana Kana Gopi Paranahana Madana Manohara Kaliyadamana Vidana Madana Manohara Kaliyadamana Vidana Amalahina Abhiyavilasa Amalahina Abhiyavilasa Vipina Purandara Navinana Garavara Vamsi Vadana Suvasa Vipina Purandara Navinana Garavara Vamsi Vadana Suvasa Raja Jana Palana Surakudana Sana Palana Surakudana Sana Nanda Godana Raghuvala Nanda Godana Raghuvala Nanda Godana Raghuvala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundarananda Gopala Sundarananda Gopala Yamuna Tattachara Gopi Vasana Hara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Yamuna Tattachara Gopi Vasana Hara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattamara Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattamara Bhakti Vinoda Ashaya Bhakti Vinoda Ashaya Bhakti Vinoda Ashaya Lord Krishna is the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the transcendental lover in the land of Raja, the delight of Gokul, Kana, a nickname of Krishna, the wealth of the lives of the gopis. He steals the mind of even Cupid and punishes the Kaliya serpent. These pure holy names of Lord Hari are full of sweet nectarian pastimes. Krishna is the Lord of the 12 forests of Raja. He is ever youthful and is the best of lovers. He is always playing on a flute, and he is an excellent dresser. Krishna is the protector of the inhabitants of Raja, the destroyer of various demoniac dynasties, the keeper and tender of Nanda Maharaj's cows, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land, and spiritual senses, the husband of the goddess of fortune, the butter thief, and the beautiful cowherd boy of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna wanders along the banks of the river Yamuna. He stole the garments of the young damsels of Raja who were bathing there. He delights in the mellows of the rasa dance. He is very merciful, the lover and beloved of Srimati Radharani, the great dancer of Vrindavan, and the shelter and only refuge of Thakur Bhakti Vinod.
Would you like to continue with the
Prabhu.
Brahma Samhita today? Or are
Yeah,
we
we'll
leaving it because it's Friday?
Brahma Samhita and then Singapore.
Okay. Go ahead, Vivek Bhaiya.
Agnir mahi gaganam ambu marudakshaksha kalastatatmatma manasiti jagatrayani yasmad bhavanti vivanti vishayanti yamcha govindamadi purusham tamam bhagami. Agnir mahi gaganam ambu marudakshaksha Kalastatatma manasiti jagatrayani yasmad bhavanti bhuvanti vishanti yamcha govindamadi purusham tamam bhagami. Agnir mahi gagana ambhu marudakshasha kalastatatma manasiti jagatrayani yasmad bhavanti bhuvanti vishanti yamcha Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhagami. Agnir Mahi Gaganam Ambu Mauru Rikshasha Kalastatatma Manasiti Jagatrayani Yasmad Bhavanti Bhuvanti Vishanti Yamcha Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhagami. Okay. The three worlds are composed of the 9 elements, viz. Fire, earth, ether, water, air, direction, time, soul, and mind. Adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom they originate, in whom they exist, and into whom they enter at the time of the universal cataclysm.
All right. Nanandi, if you want to sing the Narsinga prayer.
Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Velada Klada Daini. Hiranyakasi Purvakshaha. Silatanka Nakalaye. Ito Nashinga, Vareto Nashinga, Yato Yamita to Nashinga, Bahir Nashinga, Hrudaye Nashinga, Nashinga Madim Saranam Prapadye, Tavakaya Kamalavare, Nakam Adhuta Shungam Dalita Hiranyakasipu Anutungam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nashingadev Jaya Nashingadev Nashingadev Jaya Nashingadev जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा। श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। हरे कृष्णा।
All right, everyone. We can go ahead and unmute ourselves for the Vaishnava Pranam prayer. All right, good night, everyone.